All right, all you devils out there, how's it going? Sam here with you, Friday the 11th. It's a little afternoon. We'll do a quick update here on Bitcoin. I'll probably keep this on the more brief side here. As some of you know, I'm now day 8 into having COVID. Both my wife and I have it. And I tell you what, you do not want this. It is really kind of a pain in the ass. Hopefully on the tail end of it, but have just not had fun. Had a fun week. So that said, here again, hopefully back to full strength next week. But if I'm a little abbreviated here or a little subdued, that's why. I just feel like shit. Well, we can do a quick update here now. So I've just got this channel on here, which is really the market draws it for us, right? This is, I'm assuming, certainly members, I'm assuming you all caught this. It's hard to miss it. And still, even still, if you extend this back to the left, you can see how we're catching the lip up here, right? It's just, four pretty nice tags here. So we know what's framing the market here. Now, as we look at this, it's just so typical with Bitcoin. I think the Elliott count is a bit elusive here. We just need more data. So really, as I look at this, is often what I will recommend when it's not quite following what you might anticipate here. I want to strip it bare, and I'm only going to go to those sections of Elliott here where it's very clear to me. And it's hard not to notice this here. This from this pivot here, there's a completed impulse. There's a very clear ABC. This looks like we completed something up here. Right? A couple of different ways you could count it. Now, what are we doing here? Are we going after the 4 to get the 5? Well, let's just for the sake of discussion, if we did that, well then we'd have our completed impulse here, and it would be hard to think other than, okay, we did some sort of a 1, very funky 2, and now we just completed the 3. Now we've considered the alternate being that this here, which has been kind of the thinking that the on the larger degree that we completed the 1 here. So we went 1, 2, we're seeking the top of the 3, but I'm starting to pause on that just because market's kind of stagnating here, and both all the retracements here are very technical. Well, it's all algo driven, of course, right? So all of this is very technical, but this here is starting to look like it's self-contained. So just process of elimination, just working backwards. If this is a 1, 2, which it certainly could be, you kind of got to work back and go, well, where did this thing start? And see, this here looks to me like such a clear ABC. It looks like such an expanded B wave here. So we can get the A, and then you got your ABC into the expanded B, and you can get 5 down into that C, and that would launch us. But that means we got to work backwards here. So we'd have to do it this way. Let's get menu out of work here. So we'd have to have completed the 1 here. Now this very unusual 2 here, then again you'd be thinking 3 was still yet seeking the top of that 3, 4, 5 coming up here. It's starting to give that some more weight. I think we have to consider that as an alternate, right? And it's this looks like it's all self-contained. So this area here just becomes a big question mark. Could we have that, right? It looks very well. Of course, look here. Just all the structure that was there here, right? We know this was as we stagnated there and went sideways. God, I remember that well. It just wouldn't move, and finally we got the break. So just working off of that pivot makes me really think that this is an alternate we have to consider. Now, this again could be counted a couple of different ways. But here, this would, even if you measure it as well. All right, so if we take this low here and we think 1 into the 2, right on that. Here's the 2618. We're pushing an extreme here for a 3, and while sure they've gone farther than that, and they can go farther than that. That's a good. That certainly is a reasonable area to be thinking, but I don't want to put the 3 here. I don't think it's related to that. I think it's the internal 3. So I think we've got 1, 2, this is the 3 here. So if I put that, start to label that up, looks like 1, 2, 3, potentially now working on the 4 before we go up. Now let's get that degree into something here that makes a little more sense. Now, if that's the case, we're kind of looking for a deeper retracement here, but we're running into the algos. Both of these have been tagged. Oh, members, I'm sure you guys all saw this. Let's kind of look at that. If this is the 1 and we've got this ABC into our 2, well, I can certainly finish this. Well, shit, you can count this, you know, pick your count there. You can count it probably 4 different ways. I don't know that it really matters, right? So even if you did the most simple, right? Here's the deepest correction, right? That would give us a 1, 2. Now 3, 4, 5. You know, it's certainly reasonable there. So what are we doing here now? Well, we got to dig down. Let's go. Let's go to the hourly here. See how this looks. So if this was the 3 here, which we can get this to complete here. Now it's been iffy. Now, so this certainly looked. I think last week we were all looking. Oh, a triangle. All right, it sure looked like it. Right, it looks like we had a triangle and we were going to come out of this. Again, couple of this could be an A, B. We're working on the C. There's a couple of different ways you could play this, right? So this could be the. If we start on it, this would be A. Come here. Yeah, let's try again. This would be A, B, C, D, E before we come down. So we'd have an A, B triangle coming down for the C. Possible, right? So then you got to start looking for, okay, what are the algos doing? Well, we know we looked at this one last week, right? So golden zone, unresolved, right? It has not gotten to its target yet. But we know it's technical, right? So we look over here and say, you know, same thing. I tell you guys all the time, right? It's always the same thing. It never changes. Doesn't matter what the market is. Pick your market, pick your time frame. Always the same. So, you know, why do we stop there? Why do we stop here? All right. Well, I know members have all caught this. All right, golden zone to golden zone. This is a great example. Look here. This is just, you can see the algo right here in action. What have I told you the way that this algo works, right? So it comes down here, it'll start buying at the 50, and then it'll continue to buy all the way to the golden zone, right? That's what they'll do. We'll look at it over here. Swings straight down to the 50, can't get legs there, back down, they defend here, right? So if we break this, you can just see it, right? So here, down to the 50, right? Can't get legs, rolls over. Now, here's this, they kick in at the golden zone here, same target. They're still trying to hold it there. But if we break this is going to start to get, you know, more severe. So thinking just in Elliott context, well, if we're holding the golden zone, you might be thinking 1, 2, and well, okay, that's a possibility. Perhaps we're going to extend here. This is a 1, 2. We're going up for something bigger, but now you'd be anticipating a much bigger rip here. Where we're going up to 23 grand off of this. Okay, maybe. Let's pull back out and see if that would make sense. Well, if we're still seeking, if this is 1, 2, you know, where's our 4? So this would have to be our 4, right? But that's completing this. It just doesn't quite lay out the way you'd anticipate. So my thought is here, I need a little more information. I need to see if that's going to hold before I get overly bullish about the buy here. Now sure, right? If you're doing some short-term trading here, you certainly have a trade here, right? We know what happened there. We know algorithms are there sitting, and that's their target, right? We don't have to wonder about that. So there's a trade there for the aggressive. Certainly not something to be. Let me rephrase. I don't think this is an area to be adding to your long-term bags, right? This would just be, you know, you're after a single there. That's just, okay, I got a retrace. I went right to a golden zone. Vegas wave is there. You know, why not take, again, I often will say, why would you not take that trade? I mean, it's just, but I'm trying to make the distinction between just, you know, swinging for a single here and then looking for a strategic entry to a longer-term hold. So for the short-term guys who, you know, down on the 60-minute and below, nothing wrong with that trade. That's quite nice. And so since it's a golden, right? You got it's a little sharp, but you've got a golden corner there. Right? Right. We maintain our 80%, right? As long as that pivot holds. As long as it holds, we know where that's going, right? Going to that trend, going to that median line. Again, emphasis, as long as that pivot holds, you've got a golden corner. So tradable. I wouldn't give that a lot of room. Maybe 707. I wouldn't give that much more. Myself, that's just how I would do it, right? So if you're going to get that, I would want to keep the risk moderate here. So I wouldn't be levered and I wouldn't be doing heavy size there, but there's certainly a trade. You can already see the reaction, but see now you tapped it here, retest, broke the 618, right, golden zone. So that's there. I don't want to discourage you from that if you like that shorter term kind of swing trading. It's certainly valid. But if we're coming lower for the 4, well, we might say, okay, well, let's look at, suppose that breaks. Where might we think for that 4 here? Well, note here, in addition to the golden zone, we're also at the 23. So it's a candidate, right? Maybe, right? We can probably finish it there. Let's see, can we finish that? You'd have to go, let's see if we can get that to finish. Go 1, 2. You'd have to double bottom it, right? So that would, oh, pardon me, 1, 2, we have to do A, B. Let's do A, you can tell I'm sick, right? A, B, C. Let's see, do we overlap there? Yeah, we do. So 1, 2. Let's dig in there a little bit. Let's see how that played. If that were the 1 of our corrective C, what do we do? Lo and behold, right? You see, it just never changes. It's so funny. All right, so look here, right? So not only are we in the 1618, 175 window, we're in a golden zone. Same shit, guys, every time. Always the same, right? Now, if it breaks, that doesn't mean it can't break. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. It can break, but if it breaks, right now you're looking for the next one. But right now, you can see the reaction. I mean, you literally can see the algo working in real time. It's just amazing. So, members, I know you all have seen this. So 1, 2, could that be, right? We can get a 3, 4, 5 here. So if that's done, so is this our 4? This is, what are we doing? Right, it's a little unclear to me. So I think the Elliott is elusive here. So I think just geometry and algo swings here are the tool set to use until we get out of this and we can work backwards and say, oh, okay, now I know where I am. I'm a little unsure here. So when I'm in doubt, I'm not adding to any positions until I get clarity here. If this breaks and we head lower, okay, then I start to think something did complete here. And maybe it's the 3. Just unclear, right? So when in doubt, right, you know the old saying, when in doubt, stay out or don't add to your position here. Now, right? So you got to make your own decisions here about whether or not you want to trade that, right? And next Friday, this thing could be, you know, off to new highs here. So I'm not saying don't trade it. I'm just saying choose wisely. Right? You don't always have to be in the market, and every golden zone does not need an entry. So there you go. That's my view here, is that this is tempting, but I'd want to get a little more clarity as to where I am in the longer term count. If that's my 3, 4, 5, then if this completes, I gotta work backwards and say, okay, what did I just complete? So that's my thought, is that this just is enticing and certainly technical, and there's certainly value in understanding what's happening here. But I would be a little bit patient here to see how this is going to move off of this, because this is, I mean, there's no way to confirm it, right? We're not going to confirm it until we get more resolution here, right? The market needs to reveal itself a bit more. It's certainly, I'm not bearish, but as we're going through, you know, central banks are certainly very active right now, whether you're talking about what's happening in Europe or in the States. I mean, there's just so much money getting printed and produced that it's hard not to be long-term very bullish of Bitcoin. But where's our ideal entry place here? Well, kind of coming back here, if this is 1, 2, I'd love to get it a little bit lower on the 4. Even if I could get down to something like this, right? We can get a deeper retracement, which wouldn't be out of bounds, right? If this is going to hold as our 2, coming down here, and then we'd have all of this structure to play off of, right? That we've got all over here. Anywhere in here, you've got this. There's the prior 3, 4 of the last degree, all you know, commonplace. There's very little support over here. There's a little bit, but not a lot. You might use some of the structure here for, you know, kind of key up here, if, right, that would be ideal at the 38. Then then this bit of it starts to really look like a very clean impulse, right? If it's, then you're still kind of trying to figure out what happened here. But the 1, 2, 3 looks solid. Now, where are we going here? All right, so if you just play that forward, if we went up here, let's just say we got the algo target here. What is that setting up? Right, a bigger retracement. Now you start to look and say, okay, that really makes sense. That I could really see. All right, that brings us back down here, 13, 14. Now, of course, we could go deeper. We know Bitcoin loves the golden zone. But something like this really starts to say, that's where I would get aggressive, right? If I got something like that. Because then the Elliott count clarifies. You know where you are. You're playing off of structure, so it's price action. If you get this in a 3, now what do? We completed the 1, and now the potential for this third starts to get really sexy, right? So now we're talking about, okay, now I'm going up here, and I'm looking at 41, 42,000. In the context of the bullish backdrop and all of the fundamentals for Bitcoin to rip well past the old highs, that count starts to really look promising. Now, but that's, that's trying to lay out a roadmap, and God knows, right, if that's what comes, you can't, it's like trying to predict the weather and 6 months from now, right? But you want to have some sort of a roadmap laid out. This would be your ideal scenario, right? If it followed this, oh well, boy, it's like, it's like a crystal ball, right? But don't count on it. But don't just go, well, fuck, I don't know, so I'll just wait and see. Plan it out. Would be my suggestion. Plan it out. But this is going to be really interesting to see for the Elliottician. This is an interesting puzzle. It's always tricky in Bitcoin. So there you go. There's a few things just to think about. Again, I'm so out of it. That's about all I got for you guys today. So there you go. I think sometimes no new trade is okay. So don't feel like you need to be constantly looking for the next entry. Let the market clarify. I don't think there's any rush here. And at some point, whatever we're doing here, you can see, right, if we went up here and stayed within this channel, at some point there's going to be a deeper retracement, and that's the opportunity we're looking for. That's the one strategically for the long term. That's the one you're waiting for. All right, guys, there you go. That's all I got today. Hopefully in better condition next week. Members, I'll be back Monday here, and we'll take it from there. Okay, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll catch you next week.